Ah. Mercilessly, the African savanna stretches as far as the eye can see, an endless ocean of golden grass, swayed by winds that whisper secrets of death and survival. This is one of the most unforgiving lands on the planet. Here the sun knows no mercy. It scorches the earth until it cracks like old skin. It turns green pastures into parched straw and pushes every living creature to the absolute limit of its endurance. This is the land of the strong, where the only law is written in claws and fangs. Behind every dry bush lurks an ambush. Beneath every thorny acacia tree awaits a bloody feast. The lion watches in deadly silence, its golden eyes fixed on its prey. The lions laugh cruelly at the fallen. The crocodiles lie motionless like rotting logs on the riverbanks until their jaws snap shut like steel traps. In this unforgiving vastness, there is no place for the weak. Hunger is the enemy that never rests. Thirst can kill faster than any predator's fangs. And when the dry season arrives, millions of creatures embark on the largest migration on Earth, a journey from which not all will return. Dawn breaks calmly over the African plain. The first glimmers of sunlight pierce the parched air, dyeing the earth a pale ochre. Amidst this apparent stillness, a clan of lions begins to awaken. It is Karo's family. Karo, the alpha male, rests on a small promontory. His thick, deep-hued mane flutters gently in the early breeze. In the world of lions, this coat is no mere adornment. It reflects hormonal vigor and physical fitness. A dark mane indicates a male capable of protecting his domain. Despite what many believe, Karo almost never participates in the hunt. His job is to walk the boundaries, mark boundaries, and repel any rivals. This constant presence provides stability to the pride in an environment where the slightest carelessness can cost lives. Amidst the tall grasses, an experienced lioness silently scans the horizon. Her slender and agile figure makes her a formidable hunter. Within the social structure of the lion, it is the females who hold the group together, coordinate ambushes, and bring down prey with collective precision. Lions are among the few felines that live in organized societies. After around 110 days of gestation, the cubs are born blind and fragile. During their first weeks, they depend entirely on their mother's milk and shared vigilance. The lionesses take turns caring for them, thus increasing the chances of their survival. Karo's clan does not inhabit this territory alone. For generations, it has coexisted with a troop of baboons that lives nearby. These primates have privileged eyesight. They live in large groups and are always posted sentinels who let out warning cries in the event of any threat. From this parallel coexistence, a delicate balance is born, neither friendly nor hostile, a tacit pact that nature has maintained over time. But this morning, hunger begins to take hold on the edge of a sparse grove. A herd of kudu advances towards a watering hole. The strange thing is that the baboons do not give any warning. Nala and the other lionesses divide their formation, taking advantage of the terrain and the direction of the wind to approach without making any noise. In the end, the attempt fails. This is not uncommon in La Sabana. Most lion hunts end in failure. After the setback with the kudos, Caro's family does not back down. Hunger does not allow for hesitation. On these plains, each hour that passes consumes reserves, and a hungry herd is a herd forced to take risks. Yes. In the distance, a herd of Cape buffalo moves slowly through the low grasslands. They are imposing animals with a massive build and thick skin that barely shows signs of superficial bites. For many predators, they are ventures that are best avoided. For lions, they represent the riskiest gamble of all. Even so, today Caro's clan decides to confront them. Nala and the lionesses disperse in a wide arc. They look for a slower or older straggler, the basic principle of all lion strategy. The moment arrives. A young buffalo is separated from the group. Nala and her companions quicken their pace. The buffalo defends itself ferociously, but the combined strength of the lionesses completely overwhelms it. In a matter of seconds, the animal collapses. The feast begins. As the sun rises, the heat becomes stifling. The family retreats to the shade of some low acacia trees. In the savannah, today's triumph does not guarantee tomorrow's. However, at least for this moment, Caro's clan has overcome one of the toughest challenges that this land can impose. As the sun sinks towards the horizon, the African savanna takes on a different pulse. Among its inhabitants are the spotted deer, creatures that carry more prejudice than almost any other predator. In the human imagination, they are often associated with scavengers and thieves with that disturbing laugh that echoes through the night. However, the reality of these plains tells a very different story. The body of the spotted deer is disproportionate by human aesthetic standards. And yet, that same architecture forms an almost perfect survival machine. They have the most powerful bite of all terrestrial carnivorous mammals, capable of pulverizing large bones. Their extraordinarily efficient digestive system allows them to assimilate practically every nutrient available. This ability has earned them the label of scavengers. In fact, most of their food comes from their own hunts. Several studies reveal that spotted deer achieve a higher success rate in the home than lions. They live in complex societies with well-defined hierarchies. What sets them apart is the absolute dominance of the larger, more aggressive females who rank higher than the males. This dominance is biologically reinforced, since the females have genital structures similar to those of the males, an unusual trait and one of the reasons why humans often misunderstand them. The reproduction of the spotted tern is among the most demanding in the animal kingdom. Gestation lasts around 110 days and birth occurs in closed burrows. The birth itself causes a higher mortality rate among the young than in many other species. But those who survive tend to be robust and highly adaptable. They are born with teeth, open their eyes early and compete fiercely with their sisters. They feed on extraordinarily high-energy milk and receive the protection of the entire clan. Spotted terns do not survive thanks to their individual strength, but rather to their flexibility and intelligence. They know when to hunt, to snatch prey from others, and when to retreat. In the savanna, no behavior is good or bad, only effective or ineffective. When night falls completely, the laughter of the wild dogs resounds again. It is not a mocking sound, it is the voice of a species that has learned to resist. As the darkness dissipates, little by little, the African savanna changes to another rhythm of life. In the open grasslands, where the view reaches to the horizon, African wild dogs begin to appear. They do not hide in the shadows like the wild dogs, nor do they spend long hours in repose like lions. They are predators of movement and rhythm. Their anatomy seems designed for endurance races: slender bodies, long legs, large lungs, and a vigorous heart. Their spotted coat makes them difficult to distinguish from a distance, and no two individuals are identical. Unlike lions or wild dogs rarely hunt alone. They depend almost entirely on cooperative hunting. The pack maintains a very cohesive social structure with few internal conflicts. Only the dominant pair reproduces. The rest help raise the cubs and take part in every hunt. During the hunt, they do not use overwhelming force. Instead, they use coordination, discipline, and endurance. One group leads the chase while another cuts off escape routes, forcing the prey to run until exhaustion. Their usual victims are impala antelopes renowned for their speed and sharp reflexes. But against a persistent pack, the advantage of speed gradually fades. The hunt is concluded quickly, precisely, and with almost no waste. After feeding, there are no fights over food. Everyone gets their share, including the cubs and the weakest individuals. In the world of the African wild dog, survival does not rest on individual power or absolute dominance. It is based on discipline, cooperation, and loyalty. In the vast savanna, this is a silent but highly effective strategy, another way of life that coexists with lions and helps maintain the balance of this ecosystem. In another corner of the territory, under the canopy of low acacias, Karo's family wakes up after a peaceful night. They are not yet hungry, but the lioness's instincts are already driving them to action. Wild boars appear near the clearings and low brush. They do not have the wingspan of the Cape buffalo or the agility of the antelope. However, they have a different advantage: keen alertness and lightning reflexes. Nala and another lioness approach from behind, taking advantage of the low terrain and the wind in their favor. For lions, wild boars are usually prey of opportunity that are only worth attacking when the distance is short enough. But the decisive moment comes too soon. A wild boar detects a strange movement. In an instant they start running with surprising speed straight towards their family dens. Nala accelerates and launches the attack. The hunt ends in failure. For Karo's clan, this is not unusual. Wild boars are not easy prey, and the savanna does not grant victories every day. Lions retreat into the shade, stretching out on the ground that the sun warms little by little. In this land, failure does not mark an end. It is merely a pause in the repeated cycle of hunger and waiting until another opportunity arises. While Karo's family rests under the acacia trees, the savanna is far from silent. Life goes on according to its own rhythms. Each species plays a different role. On the edge of the plain, giraffes remain silent among the trees. Thanks to their exceptional height, they can perceive great distances and become living landmarks on the vast plain. When a giraffe suddenly raises its head and stops feeding, many smaller animals interpret the gesture as an early sign of danger. Without directly protecting any species, giraffes, due to their height and behavior, become part of a natural surveillance system in which smaller creatures learn to read subtle movements to take cover. Further afield, African elephants move slowly across the savanna. They are the largest land mammals on the planet, but their power does not lie solely in their size. Herds are led by the oldest female, who treasures memories of migration routes and water sources passed down through generations. Their flexible trunks function both as feeding tools and highly sensitive sensory organs. When elephants knock down trees, break branches or dig up the ground in search of water, they unintentionally open up food sources and paths for a multitude of smaller species. The watering holes they create during the dry season can become sources of life for entire regions. They do not hunt or dispute territory like predators, but African elephants act as ecosystem engineers. Each heavy step silently reshapes the savanna, creating conditions that allow countless forms of life to continue. As the sun slowly sinks below the horizon, the African savanna regains its familiar calm. Karo's clan rests beneath the trees. The deer begin to howl in the shadows. Wild dogs have finished their hunt while giraffes and elephants continue their slow but steady movements. Each species follows its own rhythm, its own way of existing intertwined within a system that cannot be fragmented. No species exists in isolation. Predators prevent herds of herbivores from overstepping their territorial boundaries. Herbivores shape the vegetation. Large animals such as elephants and giraffes silently redistribute resources, paving the way and creating opportunities for other forms of life to survive. The savanna is not governed by the power of a single species, but by the fragile balance between them all. From this landscape, an unequivocal environmental lesson emerges. When a species disappears, the loss is not limited to that species, it ripples through the entire ecosystem. Protecting nature is not just about saving an animal. It involves preserving the invisible connections forged over millions of years of evolution. Humans are not immune to this web. We are part of nature, and our future is intimately linked to the survival of wild lands. Understanding, respecting, and protecting the natural world is not an option. It is a responsibility so that the stories of the savanna can continue for generations. Across the endless golden grasslands of the Serengeti, The morning sun spreads like a veil of radiant silk. Yet behind this peaceful scene, the entire ecosystem is immersed in a relentless drama of survival, where speed, strength, and cunning decide who will live and who will perish. Wild Serengeti, the struggle for survival on the plains. A slender, golden silhouette glides through the dry, chest-high grass. The cheetah is the fastest feline on the planet. Its body is a masterpiece of speed, a light skeleton, a spine as flexible as a steel spring, and elongated thighs that allow it to stride for up to 7 meters. In just a few seconds, it accelerates from 0 to 95 kilometers per hour, a record that no other land animal has matched. But speed is a double-edged sword with limited endurance. The cheetah must end the chase in a short time or accept defeat. The mother stops next to her cubs, who cling to her paws. Barely a few weeks old, they sport a silvery gray coat on their backs, a layer that camouflages them in the waving grass and hides their fragile forms from the gaze of other predators. They are sparks waiting to ignite. For now, they need the warmth and protection of the only speed machine in the family. At midday, the Serengeti shimmers like a sea of fire under the blazing sun. At the edge of a clearing, a gazelle pauses, ears pricked. Not far away, a herd of impalas graze, their bodies slender, their fur red like velvet, their eyes watchful and scanning everything. Swift and graceful, impalas can leap 10 feet high and spin in midair. They are difficult prey to bring down. The mother lowers her body, her muscles tensing like steel cables. The wind changes, carrying with it the scent of dry grass and the pounding of her own pulse. The distance closes to 200 feet. This is the moment of truth in the world of cheetahs. An explosion of movement. From stillness to fury, the cheetah transforms into a golden arrow that streaks through the air. Moments later, silence returns, broken only by the ragged breathing of the victor. The mother drags her prey to a hiding place in the Serengeti. Every minute she runs the risk that scavengers will snatch her loot. She must seize the moment, eat quickly and call her cubs. Today's food is a meager reward. After many failures, an opportunity for the tiny sparks to shine brighter. After eating their round bellies, they lull the 3 cubs into a deep sleep under the scant shade of an acacia tree. The mother remains alert, her ears pricked for any sound from the plain. The wind brings the warmth of the sun, the buzzing of insects, and a fleeting peace. For this brief moment, the family enjoys the rarest luxury of the Serengeti, security. But here, tranquility is only a fragile appearance. From the horizon resounds a chilling sound, a grotesque, mocking laughter. It is not joy, it is the declaration of the rulers of the shadows, the spotted gulls. Crocuta, crocuta. Far from being mere scavengers, spotted cheetahs are relentless hunters with jaws capable of exerting up to 1,000 pounds per square inch of pressure, enough to break an antelope's femur. Their muscular bodies, thick, pillar-like necks, and sloping backs, the result of forelegs that are longer than their hind legs, give them poise in pursuit and devastating strength when bringing down prey. They live in tight-knit matriarchal clans that sometimes number 80 individuals. In this world, females lead hunts, sharing the spoils and snatching food from others when the opportunity arises. Their keen sense of smell can detect meat from miles away. To a lone cheetah, that eerie laugh is a warning that its hard-won prey could be stolen at any moment. Far away, a pack of African wild dogs. Lon Pictus has just brought down a young impala. With unmatched stamina and impeccable coordination, they boast the highest success rate in the home of any predator in the Serengeti. The feast is on. Razor-sharp teeth tear at crimson flesh, but a sinister cackle cuts through the din. From a distance, hunched figures approach, their golden eyes fixed on the carcass. They do not hurry. Instead, they spread out, circling it and laughing in a language of threat and provocation. The wild dogs growl, their fur standing on end. They know they face tenacious and reckless adversaries. With their brute strength, bone-crushing jaws and unrelenting stubbornness, the foals are not foes to be underestimated. A foal lunges forward, seizes a hanging hunk of flesh and rips it from between the wild dog's defenses. Chaos fills the air as growls, ripping flesh, barks and mocking laughter merge into a cacophony of violence. In a matter of minutes, sheer numbers and coordinated pressure force the wild dogs to yield, leaving the remnants to the usurpers. In the Serengeti, spotted lynxes are fearless opportunists. They can challenge swift wild dogs and even brave lions, the most powerful cats of the plains. For them, clan strength and an indomitable will are enough to turn any feast into a battlefield. On the Serengeti Plains, the first rains mark the beginning of one of the greatest migrations on the planet. More than 1 million wild lynxes, accompanied by hundreds of thousands of zebras and gazelles, form a living river that flows in endless circles across Tanzania and Kenya in search of fresh pastures. From above, they resemble a dark, unceasing torrent cutting through a golden sea of grass. Each individual is driven by a primal instinct: to move, to feed, to survive, to reproduce. But this journey is no mere distance race, it is a test of life and death. Along the way, rivers become deadly choke points. Beneath the murky waters, Nile crocodiles, Crocodilus niloticus, lie in wait. On the banks, lions and cheetahs wait for their chance. Even if they escape predators, the prides must still endure scorching heat, thirst, and exhaustion. For the predators of the Serengeti, this is the season of plenty. Every animal killed becomes part of the cycle of life, feeding the entire ecosystem from the vultures circling overhead to the dung beetles rolling balls of dung left by the prides. Amidst this grand spectacle, Mother Cheetah and her cubs also find their place in the rhythm of life. For her, migration represents an opportunity to hunt prey separated from the packs, but also a time of danger with enemies lurking on all sides. Amidst the sweltering chases and the roar of predators, the Serengeti still retains moments of stillness interspersed with inhabitants who rarely make the front pages of survival stories. On the Serengeti Plains, not even kings live without challenges.